Were you ever in choir, Nate?
No.
You should have been.
La 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 la.
Nice.
What are you doing?
Dude,
All right, let's start.
do you know what's
Who's gonna
happening? Do you know what's happening this week? The rivalry game, boys. Gentlemen, this Saturday, Utah is coming here to the Marriott Center. BYU versus Utah, known as the Holy War. It's going to be on our turf, boys. We beat them once, we'll beat them again.
I love this intro, I'm going to be honest.
The Florida State with it.
You don't understand how deep this rivalry goes. And that is why we on Hike the Y are going to talk about this rivalry because we're from Utah. Well, some of us are from Utah.
We're BYU fans.
We're
It matters
BYU
to
fans.
us.
BYU through and through, all blue.
BYU versus Utah matters to us. Why? Because we hate them. Do we know why?
No.
No?
Well, I mean, they're up north. That's why I hate them.
They're super close to us.
Man,
So-
I'll tell you anyway.
Yeah, no,
We'll get
go
in.
ahead. Go
we got
ahead.
because you lived where your high school had a lot of BYU fans.
I,
Or a lot of Utah fans.
Can I just say, I remember going to elementary school on the bus, and it was a chant off on the day of BYU versus Utah.
But you had a balance.
Oh yeah, it was
had a balance.
BYU, and then the other guys like Utah.
But,
and then we're like,
you did have a balance.
Yeah,
'Cause
it
in
was
Davis
50-50.
County.
Elementary school days, I'm guessing BYU just got wrecked.
In
Oh, yeah.
Davis County, here's the thing. In Davis County, at least growing up, I had like almost no BYU fans around. Now like there's a lot more BYU fans that are out with like their flags and stuff, but Saturdays on game days, so many red flags. And like my dad puts his blue flag up and I felt like we were the only ones in the entire neighborhood.
Red
Yeah.
flags are a red flag. by
Amen.
the
Yeah.
way. Just
Amen.
saying.
But so you go and like it became like elementary school for me was just BYU losing and I'm like, it's a nightmare.
and it's slander.
It's slander and it's like I shouldn't have to stand for this. Like I do nothing. I was 10 years old.
How is that slander exactly?
Okay, no, I'm sorry, but
Whatever.
I mean, I just remember going to school and like Utah would be BYU, and then all the kids like, hey, BYU lost to Utah, and I'd be like, guys, I'm a BYU fan, and I remember friends that were BYU
It
fans,
tore friendships apart.
and they switched to Utah.
That's
I
terrible.
know that left an impact on my life. My whole family's Utah fans, and mom and dad, I love you. Because
Wait, why
they
were
listen
you
to
a
the
BYU
podcast.
fan?
I can remember the very first time I decided to be a BYU fan. It was BYU Blackout. And I forget who they were playing, but it was like 6 o'clock prime time on ABC, BYU Blackout. And I was like probably like 7 years old. And I remember just like sitting in front of the TV. We had like this tube TV. And I turned it on. And I'm just sitting there watching the game. And I'm getting chills watching the BYU football team in all black. Just like the way that the blue and the black just like went together, it just made sense. And so from that day on, I decided to be a BYU fan. And now I'm here at BYU and all that stuff. But my parents both graduated from Utah. I mean, I had a couple of uncles that are BYU fans, but like it's primarily Utah and both sides of the family. So
Dang.
this game means something to me.
It just means more to Nate.
Still it from the SEC. It just means more.
It just
Oh, he's
means
still
more.
from the SEC. It doesn't mean more over there. It means more right here in Provo, Utah.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday when BYU tips off 3:30 against Utah.
Yeah.
Fellas, it's a big one.
Is it on Fox?
It's on Fox.
And it's on Fox. Oh, beautiful.
Guys, this is gonna be amazing. But we got to get into it now. How does BYU win this game?
Wait, actually,
Should we review the last game?
hold on. Before we hop in, I just want to just say one quick thing. I want to shout out to the national champions. We recorded since the national championship.
This is college football national.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for the
For those
For the
listeners
college
who-
football national championships. I just want to say congratulations to my boy Kurt. And I got to play this soundbite because at the beginning of 2024,
This is Kirk Sidnetti, Indiana head coach. By the way.
Sorry.
Brandon's like explaining what Nate's just not.
Well, I'm just like I'm sitting in the listener. She was like, "Who the heck is Kurt?"
Yeah,
Like,
I
just-
forget that. Like, yeah. Anyways, here I'm just gonna play this real quick.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Here's a challenge real quick.
Like the 15th bar of the season from Kurt Canetti. But
Go to Google.
That was the first one. I've seen this thing.
Go to Google.
I got you.
And type in Kurt Canetti.
It says, "Yep, he won."
After he won the national championship.
Google added a little thing, and it says, "Yep, he won."
Go to Google and type in Kirk Cignetti, and the thing that comes up is, yep, he won. So I just thought that
I wonder how long that's going to stay there.
Until he doesn't.
Probably until he doesn't win. I don't know.
He's that
Man,
guy.
Google, do that to me or something. Just be like, well, I don't
look
know
him
what
up. Look him up. Google me. Brandon
Google
Evans.
me. It'll come. I mean, like, nothing's going to come up. I don't even know what I'd have them say.
Well,
Just like he's a dog.
Look,
He's got that.
Oh,
He's got that dog in him.
I just Googled Indiana, and like, there's like a bunch of confetti that comes up.
You've never
Pretty
seen that
cool.
before?
I haven't seen that.
They do that for the champions.
Every championship,
Okay, well,
Google does like the little.
Anyway. We digress,
BYU
fellas.
has never been
It's
a
fun,
champion
though.
like that.
We digress,
so.
fellas.
Anyways,
1984.
congratulations, 16-0.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, I'm not going to clap for him because that should have been BYU. But
Yeah,
I mean,
back to BYU.
I will say,
Yeah, let's
like,
go back to BYU.
like putting this in the lens of a BYU Cougars eyes, or like looking through like glasses with the lens. I don't know where I was going with that analogy, but like if you look at Indiana 2 years ago, like or even last year, they're in the exact same boat as BYU was last year. Like they started off undefeated. I think they went 10-0. I can't remember exactly when they lost, but they just missed out on the college football playoff too. And now 1 year later, they're 16-0 and national champions and the undisputed best team in college football. Who knows? Maybe that's BYU next year.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. With that schedule, it's doable. I've seen that schedule.
And maybe some other time
Schedule.
we can go over. I want to go like game by game for the BYU football schedule.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we
can
got time.
talk
We got
about it.
time for that. We got.
that's
time
so
for
fun.
Next
But
time.
like, I don't know,
Guys, now
there's
that-
like so many teams you don't even know.
Now
what's
that the
gonna happen.
college football season has officially come to a close, it's time to talk basketball 100% in series. Like I've been waiting for this.
Okay.
I've been really excited.
Who wants to start? Who's got like a really good take?
A hot take. I mean,
What
I got
can
a
we
hot
expect?
take for the BYU Arizona game,
I
Okay.
can take
but
it.
we'll get to that
For
later.
BYU Utah.
Yeah, for BYU Utah, what can we expect on Saturday?
I think we can expect a lot less of an exciting game than we had in Salt Lake last week. I think BYU is going to clean it up. It's different. Again, I said it for football. I think the same thing applies to basketball, but I wasn't a player, so I'll defer to anybody that says something more accurate. But you see something on tape against a team that is similar to the team that you just played. And you can only change so much. But if you can have film of a game between you and another team who you're set to play again in a rematch, there's a certain advantage to seeing how your defensive strategies went like versus them and with their offense as well, if that makes any sense. So BYU, that was kind of when, I think Brandon mentioned it on Tuesday, where that's kind of like when AJ DeBonsai started getting some double teams and it kind of opened up for some other people. That's kind of, now they can see how can we combat those double teams? How can we take advantage of those double teams? You can have that in practice. Double team AJ and see how he handles it and make him get the ball out to other people and make him be a facilitator instead of just the playmaker himself. So I think BYU is going to be able to make those adjustments and I think defensively shut down. I forgot his name. Is it
Terrence Brown?
Terrence Brown?
Terrence Brown.
He had the game of his life. He was playing with his hair on fire. History does not say that he can repeat the same thing, especially in the hostile road environment of the Marriott Center.
Yeah, I will say one thing. In football, especially, what you usually hear is rematch favors the underdog because a better team, if you're just playing each other, a better team's going to have the advantage. They're just better. But a team that's played them before, they know maybe the ins and outs a little better, and they can kind of defer to those niche like things that they need to do. I feel like in basketball, it's a little bit different because the game's a little bit more similar for most teams. Like, obviously, each team has different defensive looks, different guys they like to go to. But especially with this game being at the Marriott Center, I think the BYU crowd is just going to get in the Utah players' heads. It's going to be tough. And Utah isn't a great team. Like, they were able to hang with BYU at the Huntsman Center, but they're 9-10 on the season. They have only won one Big 12 game. Like, obviously, this rivalry means more, but with a better team at home, I agree with you, Connor. I don't think it's gonna be too much of a game.
Yeah, and it's like if you're BYU, you have so many things. We talked about it, or we're going to talk a little bit more about BYU Utah last time. There's so many things that they can get better. There's so many things that we can do better. Utah, they played the game of their life essentially, and still came up short. So if you're Alex Jensen, what do you tell your players, like have a game like that again and kind of hope that BYU only scores 89 and that you can get more than 84? Like, play the game that you just played, but even better. So I don't know how many adjustments they have to make, but BYU, on the other hand, has a lot of things that they know they can get better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's definitely going to be more of a blowout compared to last game at the Huntsman Center. Utah is currently ranked dead last in the Big 12 conference standings, and they're coming off of a loss over
Kansas
State.
And they were at home and they couldn't finish it out.
Couldn't finish
loss.
it. BYU beat Kansas State. BYU beat TCU. Some of these teams that Utah has lost.
Utah did beat TCU, by the way.
That was their one win.
They beat TCU. And that's their only Big 12 team win. So because I'm a BYU fan, and I'm not a big fan of Utah. It isn't like I'm not saying this because I don't think I'm not biased. Well, I am biased here, but I'm just saying Utah's not a good basketball team. And when they're going to come here to BYU versus Utah here in the Marriott Center, I definitely could see this game being blown out of proportion. If we go back and we look at last time's game, the people who stepped up were Richie Saunders, who led the team in points, rebounds, and then Rob Wright led in assists. Richie Saunders, this game means something to Richie Saunders.
Richie Saunders had 14 rebounds and 6 offensive rebounds in that game, and I felt like, the ball was going to him a little bit, but he was fighting.
But he's from Riverton, Utah. He grew up in the same kind of area as me, and I could see Richie Saunders going to school in elementary, being on the bus and chanting BYU versus, and then the other guys being like Utah. He understands what this rivalry means. Another person who knows and understands is Keba Keita. If you go back to last game, oh, sorry, do you have something to say?
I'm just smiling because I'm probably thinking the same moment you're thinking. When Keba Keita has a couple fouls in the first half, Kevin Young tries to take him out, and Keita's just like, no, don't. You can't see it, but I'm waving my arm right now, doing what Keita did. Keita's like, no, waving his arm. I'm staying in this game. Doesn't matter what you do. And I think he got a foul a couple minutes later. It had to come out. But you're right. This game just means more.
I have a quick clip I want to play. This is in the locker room after the game, where they're talking about. This is Coach Young talking about Keba Keita. Get the volume.
To take Cabe out of the game. Cabe was the quietest dude ever. That's the loudest he's ever yelled at me. Don't take me out!
Did we play that clip?
We did.
A couple times ago?
We played that clip, but that was the episode that got deleted.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
and there you go. Don't take me out.
He's like, don't take me out. And so, it's just funny to see that like especially for Keba Keita. Earlier in that game, he missed a wide open dunk and just a couple of dumb mistakes, and he got into foul trouble early. But Keba Keita and Richie Saunders definitely care about this basketball game, and I think it kind of became real to AJ DeBanza kind of after the game. There's an interview in the post game conference. I'm trying to find it really quick. I'm juggling a bunch of things, but in a post game interview, they're interviewing Coach Young and all of them, and they say to Keba, they're or not Keba, they say to AJ DeBanza, they're so how was your first Holy War? What was your experience? And he's like, this is more toxic than my rivalry games when I was in high school. He's like, it was pretty legit. So I think going into this next game, the BYU players are going to understand how much this game means to the BYU players and the BYU community.
Yeah, and just also looking at it from the Utah perspective, Utah has a bunch of players I think we mentioned this before, but I'm not quite sure. Utah has one returning player that was in last year's rotation, and that was Keanu Dawes. And Keanu Dawes is the only player that's playing this year that has had a connection with the Utah BYU rivalry. And so I'm not saying it doesn't mean more for some of those Utah players, but it does change your outlook a little bit. But the other thing I wanted to say, Utah just lost at home. I'm sure that they have all that fire, all that motivation to come to Provo and knock us out on our home court. And so, we shouldn't count them out.
Of course.
But some, I think you were mentioning before, Connor, Terrence Brown had a great game. Don McHenry put up 20 points. And so I think if you can take away those two guys, Utah doesn't have a bunch of offense outside of them. So I think BYU should hopefully be able to handle this game.
Of course. I love you said that about the fire, though. I mean, that's one thing Utah had on us last year. We did beat them, but they beat us. So we go to split the series isn't as sweet as getting the straight sweep, and so it's a big moment right now to try to get that.
Heck yeah.
Try to get that done. But they also do have all the motivation too to bounce back. But yeah.
Yeah, Utah's definitely in a position here where BYU is pretty highly ranked. Utah's the worst team in the Big 12 right now, just statistically.
Doesn't it feel good to say that?
Yeah.
Utah is the worst team in the Big 12.
They are currently ranked last in the Big 12, and it's like Utah is in a position to beat BYU. So one thing that cannot happen is BYU gets cocky, and they go out there and we're absolutely gonna steamroll these guys. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but the last game it was 89-84. That's only a 5-point win.
They had a chance to tie it at the end too and turned it over.
Yeah, and the spread was 11 points. So. Or no, sorry, the spread was 12 points. BYU was supposed to beat them by 12, but we only won by 5. So I can see this next game. If I was a betting man, I would take the over on this game. Probably over 12 points win margin. Just because of the toxic environment, I don't think that the Utah basketball players are physically capable of stopping Keba Keita, AJ DeBansa, Richie Saunders, Rob Wright, just basically anyone, Davis. So
yeah.
Hopefully this game will be like a wake-up game for BYU, that they can activate their three-point shooting abilities again. We kind of talked about it in the last podcast that they were struggling shooting from beyond the arc. This game, they can go into the game feeling a little bit more confident and getting a big win before they play against Arizona.
Yeah, it's funny how you said you definitely take the over because BYU and Utah, they both put up 80+, and each team only hit 6 3-pointers. I'm looking at the team stats right now. They were shooting BYU was shooting 23% from 3, and then Utah shot 27%. And they still put up huge numbers. So these teams can both score. So if you're rooting for a shootout where we might get to the hundreds, this is the game to watch. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, there you go. I was just thinking, I was doing a little bit of reminiscing, fellas, about one thing that I remember about BYU Utah, the basketball side of the rivalry. And it was, I don't remember what year, so those that really want to look it up can look it up, but it was Utah's basketball coach, Larry Krystkowiak, canceled the rivalry game 2 years in a row, I think. But he canceled it at least one, but there was a year that we didn't play. And then they came to the Marriott Center, and BYU just dogged on them. And the entire Rock, they're all wearing caution tape and holding signs that say stuff about safety, poking fun at him because he was worried about safety. It was pre-COVID, but he was worried about safety and player safety or something really dumb kind of. And so they made fun of him for it, and, with the caution tape headbands and stuff like that, literally poking fun at Utah's head coach, which was just hilarious. And then we won that game by 20 points. So
yeah, it's the 2016-2017 season. He said, quote, "It's a venomous and toxic environment, and it escalates players' emotions." He said in December of 2015, there was a BYU player punched a Utah fan who was sitting in the second row. And so do
you have that clip pulled up right now, Nate?
Yeah, I've got the clip right here.
This is my favorite clip of all time. Oh wait, I thought. Oh wait, I was talking
Hold
about
up.
the Max Hall clip.
I thought. Oh, the Max Hall. Oh yeah, I've got the Max Hall.
Just
clip.
talking about like how like this rivalry is just so fun. Here, what? Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I've got the Max Hall. Here's Max Hall. Do you want to explain who Max Hall is?
Yeah, so pretty much this is a former BYU quarterback. I think this was his senior season, and I'm not 100% sure, but he played for BYU. I think the season prior, BYU lost to Utah, and like I said, I'm not completely sure. But then this year, Max Hall wanted revenge.
The year that this clip took place.
Yeah, this was like 15 years ago. But Max Hall.
Oh, 16 years ago.
Oh. Anyway, Max Hall didn't have the best game of his life, but BYU was able to pull it out in overtime. I think he threw like a 25-yard touchdown pass to
Andrew George.
Yeah, and
The
they
last
won.
ranked.
It was
Crossbody,
amazing.
right? It was like a
The
cross-
last
It's
ranked
one of the
versus
best.
ranked
Yeah, it's one of the best
Utah game until this last season.
plays in BYU history. But anyway, after the game, this is what he said. And they will.
In fact, I hate them. I don't like Utah. In fact, I hate them. I hate everything about them. I hate their program. I hate their fans. I hate everything. So it felt really good to send those guys home. They didn't deserve it. It was our time, and it was our time to win. We deserved it. We played as hard as we could tonight, and it felt really good again to send them home to get them.
I don't want this to come across like we're just absolutely dogging on Utah. Like I kind of do want to like explain
I mean,
the
we have
rivalry.
respect for him.
I have respect. I just want to say I respect the University of Utah. But for people who don't understand the rivalry, this is what it means. Like 2016, 2017, a BYU basketball player punches a Utah fan. Or in 2015 of December. And so 2016, 2017 games get canceled. Max Hall is making comments because beer was dumped on his family at the BYU versus Utah football game. This rivalry runs deep. And so I think with a win over, like talking about last game, 89 to 84, people are like, oh, Utah, they're 8-7, 8-8. How did the 15-1 Cougars almost lose to them? It's because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a perfect record. It doesn't matter if you have LeBron James on your team. When we go into this game, if both sides know what they're fighting for,
I'll take LeBron James.
yeah, he's still got a bunch of years of eligibility.
Come back to BYU. Come to BYU,
He
LeBron.
still got some eligibility.
I mean, he can't because he played
Yeah,
in the
because he
NBA.
played in the NBA.
well, that hasn't stopped some people this year, has it?
Well, I mean, it's different. Like actually playing in the NBA, playing in the G League.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, by the way things are going, like there could eventually be a thing where
They just go
LeBron
back and
could
forth.
come play in college. Imagine like a 50-year-old. I know this is a complete tangent. I totally interrupted you, Nate. Like imagine a 50-year-old LeBron, like because he's gonna play in the NBA, and then he's probably gonna retire. And then if they make changes, like what if a 50-year-old LeBron came and played college? Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun to
That'd be
see.
crazy.
Kyrie could. Well, I guess Kyrie played, but anyway. Do you even remember what you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
My
saying
bad.
we can't count Utah out of this basketball game, but because it's here in the Marriott Center, it's definitely going to be more of a blowout. I hate using that word because I feel like there's like a curse behind the word blowout, but blowout.
So you just cursed us. Thanks
No,
a lot.
no.
Thanks, Nate.
Wow.
I said I feel like
Guys,
there's a
I'm pretty
curse.
sure there's a curse behind this.
No, I
but
said I
here we
feel
go.
it. Okay.
All right. I feel like we're mostly wrapped up with talking about BYU Utah, unless you guys have something else. But I do have a hot take that I thought was. I wrote this hot take down, and I thought it was for the BYU Arizona game, but I realized that this is actually for BYU Utah. So here it is. We all remember last game where Utah pretty much just tried to double AJ every time he came inside the three-point arc. They pretty much wouldn't let him get to his sweet spot right around the free throw line at all. And then guess who went off on him? Richie Saunders. And I think Rob Wright had 20 points too. So I think what Utah is going to do in this game, they're going to go all out on stopping AJ DeBonsta, and they're going to have a lot of pressure on Richie Saunders and Rob Wright. And that is going to leave Kennard Davis wide stinking open all night long.
Yeah.
And guess what? Here's my hot take. After the season, we're going to look back on the year, and we're going to be like, you know what? Kennard Davis didn't have the best start to the year. He couldn't hit threes. But you know what the turning point was? The BYU-Utah game when he hit a bunch of threes, and he was just able to go off because Utah had to focus on Richie Saunders. They had to focus on A.J. DeBonce. They had to focus on Rob Wright. And that left Kennard Davis open, and that is what flipped that switch, got him out of that slump, and then BYU has a floor stretcher.
I think so. That makes a lot of sense. One thing also is that BYU, it's like it's the equivalent of a bye week is what they had this week, where they don't play a whole game from last week at Texas Tech until this week. They haven't played a single game, and that gives you time to rest up those kind of injuries or sicknesses or whatever you got going on, and then just to practice shooting. You can just practice shooting and put up like a ton of 3 points, and that way you just get back in your zone. It's time. It's a reset. And so BYU, I think, can come out swinging, come out shooting how they were before, essentially how they shot in non-conference play. Just bring that kind of 3-point swagger to conference play, and this BYU team all of a sudden becomes really scary, both in this game against Utah and against Arizona. The matchup becomes very intriguing.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love how I wonder if the conference schedule makers did this on purpose. Giving us a full week before the Utah game is kind of crazy.
Yeah, giving Utah and then making Utah playing a game.
Yeah. But that's a great point. Like, that rest can really do something for you. And hopefully it works. Imagine we do this whole podcast and the BYU somehow loses. Wouldn't that be horrible?
No. Yeah.
It would be pretty awful. That's why we have to win. It's like, just win.
All right. But we do this BYU-Utah game, how big it might seem, it probably isn't the biggest game coming up in the next couple days.
Not even close.
No, not even close.
Because BYU hosts the number 1 team in the nation. And guess what? Or it's Arizona. They're number 1. I think they're 19-0 right now.
19-0, 6-0.
They will play West Virginia on Saturday.
They'll be 20-0.
So there's a chance they might lose, but West Virginia
at Arizona, though.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. They're going to be 20-0 coming to the Marriott Center. And guess what? According to BYU statistics that I pulled up, and I just went through and used Control F.
According to sources.
Yeah, according to sources, BYU has never beaten a number 1 team at the Marriott Center.
Oh, wow.
How many have they played? Does it give a number?
Yeah, I kind of just went through. BYU is 1-9 versus number 1 teams all time. If you guys can remember, 2017,
Gonzaga.
BYU went
Gonzaga.
and played Gonzaga,
At
knocked them
Gonzaga.
off. They were 29-0.
That was the
Gonzaga
third. That was the third win in a row at Gonzaga.
Yeah,
That felt
Gonzaga
so
was
good.
29-0. The story that I always heard was that they had a bunch of newspapers printed Gonzaga 30-0, blah 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 on the front page, and they just had to get rid of all of them because BYU upset them.
I remember that.
But
TJ Haas, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
TJ Haas,
TJ
Nick
Haas.
Emery.
Yes, sorry.
But yeah, BYU's only beaten a number 1 team once. That was the Gonzaga game. They're 1-9. They have played number 1 Gonzaga 6 times, so that's where a lot of that comes from. But yeah, they've never beaten a number 1 team at home. Could this be the year that changes?
I think going into this game, if BYU can't make a 3, the game's over. Like I'm looking up at the matchup predictor. It's 54-45 with Arizona.
I think that's very generous, by the way. I think Arizona's a clearly better
They
team.
give a lot of it is for the Marriott Center, to be honest.
Yep.
Every time that we play a ranked team, we get at least 5 percentage points because we're playing at the Marriott Center.
And I think it's definitely going to be a harder game for Arizona because it's here at BYU. But I'm looking at these matchups between we've got Pete and DeBanza. DeBanza's averaging 22.5. Pete's only averaging 14.6, and he's leading the team.
But
Well,
as a team, they're averaging 90, though.
That's because they got 5 guys averaging over 10 points.
Because they're averaging 90 as a team is the thing. So
I'm sure Pete could put up 25 a game if he wanted to. That's just how good this Arizona team is. And all the BYU fans out there that are listening are like, why are you dogging on BYU? Why are you not giving them a chance? I just don't want to jinx it, to be honest. And also, but like this Arizona team is really good. So
yeah, I'm really excited. One thing that does favor BYU is just the logistics of getting to stay at home. Where we both play on Saturday and both play on Monday, but one team has to fly on Sunday and one team doesn't.
Yeah.
And that gives BYU logistics to have it's just home court advantage comes into play when you don't have to travel. They don't have to travel from, granted it's not that far. They're just going from Arizona up here, but it's still travel is travel, and that's going to do something to them, and that can give BYU a little bit of an edge. If the Utah game goes well, you can have some starters that are not playing all of the minutes, and they can get some rest, so then they can play the number one team in the country.
Mm-hmm. And keeping the Sabbath day holy. I want to mention that. That is a big factor by not traveling on Sunday. But I think another thing, I'm looking at the team stats. Arizona averages 89.9 points a game. BYU averages 86. BYU allows 69.6 points a game. Arizona allows 68.3. It's pretty even. I think both of these teams, if it's ranked number 1 and number 13, I feel like it's ranked closer than this. BYU is definitely a team that could be ranked in the top 5. And don't get me wrong, Arizona is also that same team. I'm loving that we have so many elite programs here in the Big 12 that the top 15 is filled with 3-4 spots coming from teams in the Big 12. And so I hope this game doesn't either kill BYU's momentum and kills Arizona's momentum, because I want both of these teams to continue to play very well and continue to keep beating other teams and getting into March Madness, getting into March, and being ranked probably 1 and number 2 seeds. I don't hate Arizona. I don't hate BYU. I would be fine if Arizona won, but I'd hope that BYU could beat Arizona just to get that kind of team like credibility. Like BYU beat a ranked team, because people will look at BYU losing to UConn and Texas Tech and saying, "Oh, they can't be a ranked team. They can beat a bunch of no-name teams." But if BYU can get a ranked win over Arizona, we'll have that credibility going into the rest of the season and then postseason.
Yeah, this is easily the biggest game of the year for BYU. And if you're wondering, hey, why is Arizona? I mean, they're 19-0. Why are they ranked number 1 over? Actually,
Michigan?
no, I don't think there's any. There's no more.
Nobody.
There's no more non-mid-major teams that are that are undefeated. But anyway, Arizona in the opener for the season, they beat the defending champions with the Florida Gators. That was actually a really fun game. I was watching it, and Arizona looked pretty good. I didn't realize they were going to be that good at the time. Then they come and they beat UConn at home, and that's something BYU couldn't do, and it wasn't even at home. And UConn's now ranked number 2 in the country. And then the last ranked game that Arizona played, they went to Alabama and they beat them by 21. So
I watched that game.
Yeah,
That game was
Arizona
insane.
is a high-scoring offense against really good teams.
And
it's tough.
Alabama's still ranked. Like, it's not like Alabama was like this early ranked team. They're still
they're
ranked
not a
number
fluke.
19.
They're
number.
good. I watched that game,
So-
and Arizona just outclassed them in every way possible. They just looked better every single way that you can look better. So this game, I think that's the danger, I think, of the Utah game, is not looking ahead to Arizona while you're still playing Utah. And that's something that, doesn't really favor BYU too well, is having to play a rivalry game and then look ahead to the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, usually I wouldn't. Usually I would be like, "Oh, don't look ahead, don't look ahead." I feel like you can't look ahead
not.
against Utah, because it's a rivalry
can.
game. I mean, of course you're playing the number 1 team, but the rivalry game is just
If
so
you're
big.
up by
I
a
would be-
lot, then you can start resting people. You can say, hey, well, you got whoever's been, has their ankles been bugging them, and they just don't announce that
Maybe
kind of stuff.
Rob
Be like,
Wright's
hey,
finger.
Let Rob sit, or let Kayla sit if he's still his ankle was kind of shaky. Yeah, I understood, and so you kind of can look at those, but only if you're up late.
Yeah, I
You
wouldn't.
can't going into game prep. You can't be looking past this one because that's the kind of stuff that lets this Utah team, with this fire that we've been talking about, it's the kind of stuff that lets them back in this game. So
Yeah,
go out, take care of business on Saturday, rest up on Sunday, and then Monday, it's go time again.
oh yeah. I will say, I'm a bit worried about this BYU team in the paint. Toby Awaka, he played for Arizona last season. If you watched the couple times that BYU played Arizona, he was able to go down low and be a difference maker. And then I am really bad at pronouncing names. So this guy, Motijas Krivas, I hope I pronounced that right. He also is really good down low. And both these guys are big men. They both average over 10 points a game. And BYU's big men are a little bit smaller. I'm a bit worried about the inside matchup. And then if you've watched any Arizona basketball all year, you know that their bread and butter is to drive and get to the rim. They love to get to the rim. And BYU, they just aren't that big. They're not a huge team. And
No,
so
not at all.
I'm just worried that Arizona's just going to destroy us in the paint.
That is a concern because Toby Owaka, according to ESPN, he's the same height as Keba, but according to ESPN, he has 25 pounds.
Yeah,
on
I was
Keba.
about to say he's got to weigh so much more.
So he can, worst comes to worst, he can just post up. So that's something that BYU, going into the game prep, that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to be thinking about that matchup.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Connor.
you go. I got something after I talk about basketball.
One more thing. Just an interesting fact. According to the BYU statistics, which I found out that something was wrong on there and I had to make sure, so it might be wrong. BYU's 20-20 all time against Arizona. Just saying, hey, let's get the series dub all time.
21-20.
So, yeah, that's all I have.
Heck yeah, I think it will be a spectacular game. I really do. And I remember one time I had the chance back when one of those Gonzaga games, they were number 2 at that time. Was Chet Holmgren came to the Marriott Center and they won by 30, and it was ridiculous.
Chet.
Yeah, when he played
Yeah,
for
I remember
Gonzaga,
that. Yep.
Chet Holmgren came to the Marriott Center and
he
they won.
popped off.
They hung 90 something in the Marriott Center and we couldn't even get 70. So I remember that game and I was like, gosh dang.
Oh, when Gonzaga won?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I do not remember BYU beating Chet Holmgren. But
Nope,
yeah,
we didn't.
go
That's
ahead.
why
We didn't.
But now the fact that BYU goes into this game, completely different feeling going into Arizona, a game where we can actually compete and show up. And whatever win or lose for net rankings, it's a quad 1, which is definitely favorable for NCAA tournament seeding.
Yeah, and
stuff.
it's the number 1 team.
But losing to Utah is that's the worst thing that you could do because they're not even quad 2. I think they're a quad 3 at this point. And so in terms of
at a home game.
a home game against a quad 3, this is expected to win for tournament teams, for tournament 1s and 2 seeds. Something the BYU it's just you guys have to get it done. But against Arizona, you're playing the number 1 team in the net rankings, probably. I think one of the top.
Yeah.
And so you're definitely favored
Arizona's
in that matchup.
Arizona's 3rd in the net rankings according to
And so that's
NCAA.com.
clear quad 1.
BYU's
So that's a
BYU's
game.
12.
You just need to look very competitive in it. But we didn't against Gonzaga that one time that I went. I remember that game, and there were some Gonzaga fans behind us, and they let us know. But here we are, and I cannot wait, fellas. We got a couple of great games in the Marriott Center this weekend.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a heck of a weekend.
So to all of our listeners, come show up to the basketball game. Try to get tickets.
Make noise.
Tickets are approximately $200 plus for the very top. So buy tickets now before it gets more expensive. And also buy tickets for the Arizona game, but that's also super expensive.
And if you have a Rock Pass, don't forget when the tickets go on sale.
Friday
for the
tomorrow.
Utah game, and Monday, the day of, they go on sale for the Arizona game.
Yeah. So show up. We need to be loud at those games. To all the
But don't take my ticket.
Yeah, don't take my ticket either. I'm trying to go to that game. Boys, what a podcast. Thanks for listening to
Been
the
a grind.
podcast. Follow us on Spotify.
Shout out to Ty, who just got in the MTC.
Ooh, Ty. Miss him.
R.I.P. Ty.
Rip
Rest
Ty.
in peace. Last podcast, there was a couple of haters on how we ended the podcast. So, Brandon, can you give us an outro?
All right, guys. You know what? I love BYU basketball. I love BYU sports.
Boom.
Let's go.
What was wrong
That
with
was
that?
that was a bad outro. Bad outro.
Okay.
I liked it. I liked
Hey,
it.
I will
Bad
say
outro.
it wasn't a great outro. I didn't have any time to think of a good one.
You had 5 seconds.
Next
That was pretty dang
podcast,
good.
We're gonna have a great outro.
Okay, whatever.